Hey everybody, it's Nikki with Delicate Tension Tarot. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you just have a lot of Pisces in your chart. Always keep in mind this is a general reading. It's not going to resonate with everybody, and that's okay. Always check, well not always, but you can check your Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you know of any other really important placements in your chart, you can look at those videos as well. This will be for the energy regarding I feel like a lot of the energy that's going to come up in the reading itself is for the Mercury retrograde in Pluto. But this reading is for the energy surrounding the 1st through the 15th of November, which is really the largest pocket of that retrograde period. Usually the shadow period beforehand, which is about, I think, 2.5 weeks, you can see themes of how that energy is going to be intensifying through the retrograde period. People notoriously bring up the concept of people from your past coming back into your life or revisiting certain things. I always say it's up to you to deal with that stuff. To me, retrogrades are times to reflect and really think before we actually act on anything. So having conversations always can be helpful, but considering that it happens in the planet of communication, it's not always ideal. And you may not really know what to say. The only time I feel like this affects people in a very positive way is if you're born with your Mercury in retrograde. I feel like that's the time where you can speak a little more clearly, or you're more apt to be able to communicate. So with that being said, I will get started on your reading. Let me kind of tune in for a second here and see what it is that I pick up on. The imagery that's kind of being shown to me is someone standing somewhere, and it's very obviously in a bathroom, kind of with their hands on a countertop or a sink, and they're just staring at themselves in the mirror. But what I get from that is this really deep feeling of looking at yourself and possibly having conversations with yourself, which is totally okay unless it's, unless you have issues with forms of mental illness. Obviously go talk to somebody if that's the case, but it feels like getting real with yourself. It feels like looking at yourself and not feeling connected. It's kind of like wondering where you went. But it feels very deep. It's a very, very deep feeling within the imagery. You could be experiencing a death of the self. That could be happening because maybe your relationships are being reflected back at you at this time. Or maybe there's this kind of essence of mirroring energy where everything around you is reflecting back to you either what needs to be changed or it's kind of pushing you to be a little more clear. Okay, that being said, let's get started. Please show me the energy for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for November 1st through the 15th. Okay. Yep. Your energy is still the same from what I've been picking up on. You might be coming out of this, but look how dark these cards are. Now with the Lovers, I try to be as clear on this as possible, and the Two of Cups is wanting to peek out of the deck. So yes, this most definitely could be based around a relationship, one that was very important to you. But it also is about the relationship you have with yourself. The Lovers is a very high vibration or aspect of not only the polarities within us as individuals, but the polarities within relationship. I always see this as a very unconditional love card because it is the higher aspect of love. It's not necessarily about the lustful aspects of it or sex or the attraction. This is an internal attraction to me. This is two things or people being drawn together and not really understanding why, because there's a higher force at play that really brings them in to meet each other where they're at. Now, with the Nine of Swords there and the Ten of Swords, I'm so sorry. And like, I actually feel my throat closing up right now because it's almost this essence of me feeling a little choked up. This is very intense energy to be going through. And I think, like I said, you are experiencing, in my personal opinion, with this retrograde being in Scorpio, there is an ego death happening here. Now, when people speak of ego death, a lot of people really tie that into psychedelic trips. This is going to be for a very specific few of you. If you are experiencing or using psychedelics at this time, that experience could be quite intensified, or you might have recently had an experience that kind of shook you to your core. If you were not, this is reality. I mean, this is something, and not saying that what you get out of a psychedelic trip isn't reality, because reality is subjective, right? I think your anxiety or your worry or your concern has really brought you to this place of feeling like you've lost something. And well, I will say, with the 10 being here, that's really great. I know it doesn't, trust me, it looks awful. I know. I've experienced this many times. And it's unpleasant. It's very unpleasant. If the Tower comes out, then that's really going to be some overkill energy. But when you reach a 10, that's the completion of the cycle. I think you're coming into the completion of that cycle. It could also be taking a step from overthinking to actually acting. You're not going to allow it to be in your mind anymore. You know you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to step out of the energy of the mind into the body and actually take action. So let's see what else I get here. Yeah, because you're definitely not taking action. And with the Emperor being in reverse, the Emperor is one of the counterparts within the Lover's card, in my opinion. It is kind of this quote-unquote divine masculine energy. With it being in the reversed, we do have Chiron and Aries right now, so you could also be dealing with issues. If you are a male, you could be dealing with issues of either how you are becoming your father, or how you actually mimic a lot of the traits of your father. And if your father was not present, or that energy was very unhealthy, this could be one of the rude awakenings for you, because it's showing you not only how you act as a man. I really am one of those people that believes gender is fluid. I understand that although I am a female, I come off quite more masculine than feminine. Even though I feel like a girl, like I am a female, but I understand that I have a very strong energy. I have a very willful energy, which is quite masculine. But with this, it could be addressing the things that need to change. It's almost this feeling of you needing to take control of yourself and of your life, and that's the bigger picture here, especially with the fact that we have 2 major arcana flanking the minors. It's understanding that how you feel right now is going to be impacting your life in a very big way. And if you are a female, this could be dealing with, once again, healing the wound surrounding how you have either been treated by males or how you have allowed males to treat you through your experience with them or with that deeper wound. Oh yeah, you're in your feelings for sure. Within this past energy, I feel like the Fool is a beautiful card, first off. Because I'm not going to even hate on this energy, but in the context of how I'm having to read this, it can get uncomfortable. Now with the Fool, it's beautiful energy because it is this fresh willingness to approach and take on life and not really care about what's going to happen. You're not worried about it. It's a very carefree energy that can sometimes borderline on carelessness. And in its reverse, it's quite foolish energy. And I think there needs to be a balance or a blend within these energies for you, because it's this essence of you understanding, like I said, you need to take control of your life, and being in control would not be being in this energy. It's like you need to have that delicate balance between the two. It is absolutely beautiful to follow your intuition and kind of go where life takes you, but at some point you have to be in control of who you are. You have to actually think about who you are. You have to think about how you treat others. You have to think about the relationships that are important to you and how you act in them. And then, like I said, where that deeper wound is, if you feel like you have issues in relationships, then of course there's a deeper wound surrounding that, and this is the perfect time to address that. Moving forward, I do think that you are going to be ruminating in your emotions. This is going to be a very deep emotional period for you at this time. I do think that you are getting more grounded, and I think you are in the beginning stages of trying to balance this energy out. I think there's also this deeper understanding that you need to take care of yourself. Because in taking care of yourself, I think you'll understand how to take care of others. I just keep getting this feeling of like, where did I go? Where did I go? It's so strange. So let's clarify the Nine of Swords here. Yep. Yeah, this is very, very deep energy. I also believe that you have undergone the past 9 months here for you have been exhausting. There has been major changes. The way that you've been living, or the way your life has been, has probably totally flipped. I think it is going to continue to do so, especially with death kind of marching forward into the future. You are not the same person you used to be, for better, for worse. And I think that this is time to really address the things that have kind of fallen out of your life. And then the things that still remain, or the things that matter to you. I think it's time to really address that. Let's clarify the Ten of That's what I was talking about. So we have the King of Wands and the Two of Cups. When I was discussing the Ten of Swords being good because it's the end of a cycle where you're going to go from being in your head about something to taking action, this is you taking action. And I think it's so funny to me because you have your back turned to this situation, or you have your back turned to this love or this connection, and it's not that you don't want it, because I see that with death moving forward. It's not that you don't want it. You're in your emotions about it. You're feeling very emotional about it. You feel very connected to it. But I think there's this understanding of you needing to fix this first. Whatever that healing is, whatever that deeper introspective look is into yourself, you need that. Because I think you're starting to see the repetitive nature of why things happen the way that they happen, and you know that it starts with you. You know you are at the center or the heart of the equation. Actually, not going to take that. Let's clarify. Oh, okay. Yep. For the Emperor, we have the Emperor reversed, the Fool reversed, and the Hierophant reversed. It is very, very hard for you to fully commit to relationships. I think it's also very hard for you to commit to most of anything in life. You don't want to be responsible for anyone or anything. Because then it makes you accountable. You would actually feel like you would be being ruled for your actions. I think that goes for my males here. For my females, this is going to be that you keep attracting people that you cannot have these relationships that sustain for long periods of time. Or it's, even if they do last for a long time, there's still that issue of commitment, or that there is that issue of attracting people who don't see that in their future. Maybe they don't want marriage. Maybe they don't want this, that, and the other. So it's about healing that as well. Let's clarify the Fool. The Star, yeah, this energy, when I was talking about really grounding out, it's because with the Fool and the Star, that is someone who follows their fantasies, they follow their daydreams, and I'm not saying that's not a good thing. I believe in dreams. I believe in the visions of our futures that we can have and chasing after those things. But I think at a certain point you have to be real. If you look at this card here, she has one foot planted on the earth and one on the water, and there's an important reason as to why. And so does the Queen of Cups in this imagery as well. You have to be grounded, and you have to be there. You have to pull that dream into reality, and you have to see how it fits or how it can happen within your reality. And that's where the Fool is a beautiful energy, because it is essentially following your heart and being led by something greater than yourself into the direction that you were meant to go in. And maybe that also may be a deeper issue for you as well. Maybe you have a really hard time trusting the way that you feel. That's why it's hard for you to take action. Let's clarify the Lovers. We have the Queen of Wands. Now that is a divine pair right there. And we have the High Priestess. Okay. Somebody might have gone silent. I think too, because we have the King and Queen here, their backs are facing, they're looking away from each other. They're not paying attention to one another. But it's interesting too, because with this card in between the both of them, they might be looking away from each other in the active world. But in the emotional world, they're still facing one another. So the emotions in that bond are still there, but I think that in real life there is this separation or this distance. So I definitely think that you and another person may literally feel each other. When you are not with them, when there is distance between you two, you can actually feel them. I mean, this can get even weirder with the High Priestess being connected, because it could be a telepathic connection. It could be you actually feeling their emotions. It could be you experiencing conversations with them in dreams. It's a very, very interesting card, and I honestly think that this Mercury retrograde might amplify that happening. It might amplify the intensity of the connection. And this might be why I feel like there's this essence for you feeling as if you have to do something, because I don't know how much longer you can ignore this feeling. I mean, this is a choice too, right? And sometimes in our lives, we don't even have a choice to do anything. Whether it be, geographical distance, whether it be the fact that that person actually might not be earthbound anymore. That can be the situations that apply here, if that resonates with anybody out there. And if that does, understand that you will always have a connection with this person, whether they're here or not. And I think I understand that there is pain behind that. So let's clarify the Queen of Cups here. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. And we have the Tower at the bottom of the deck. So like I said, there's some really intense stuff going on for you guys during this retrograde period. Please try to feel it and process it. I really don't think you're going to be able to avoid it. And I think you've been processing a lot anyways. But I think too, if you don't actually process it in an emotional sense, I think it's going to start affecting your physical body. So please keep that in mind. Now with the Queen of Cups here, with the Five of Pentacles in reverse and the King of Pentacles, I think emotionally this is you connecting to the idea of possibly tackling abandonment issues. Especially since the King of Pentacles is a lower vibration of this energy up here. There is this essence of needing to commit to something. It's needing to learn to take responsibility. It's needing to learn to invite these kind of connections into your life. Yeah, there's a lot of reconciling with some energies here. And it's really deep. It's very, very deep. So I'm going to pull some clarifiers here to look at the energy a little further. Yeah, I think you're kind of going to this higher ground. Yeah, I think this higher ground you're going to, this is part of that mirror energy as well, is where it's like that energy that I was feeling of asking yourself, who am I? Where did I go? What's going on? I think taking this higher aspect and taking a look at it, or getting this higher perspective or point of view, it's kind of seeing how either your life has been a circus or it feels like a circus. And I think you're really starting to peel away the layers of camouflage that you were wearing to exist in that world. And I think that's why, in peeling back the layers, it's almost like you've had this persona be a part of you for so long that you don't know who you are without it. And then we have Cauldron in reverse. Okay. And then Breathe and Lounge Chair. So I think you need to reflect on this deeply. I think you need to work with what you have. I don't think you need to overdo it at this time. I just think you need to be breathing deeply, and you need to be thinking about what has changed, what is happening, what you can do in this situation, and actually be more active towards stepping up in that role. Because at the center of this whole thing is the heart. And the storm. Please brave the storm. Please move through this energy. I think that you are getting to the core of a lot of things right now, and I think at the center of your heart is where all of the answers lie. This is some deep shit. This is deep. And I don't know if it's because I understand, I've been in this position before, and I understand what it's like to take a really long, hard look in the mirror and just be like, who the fuck am I, and what happened to me, and why do I do the things that I do? It's really intense energy. It's not a cakewalk, especially if you start addressing those issues, because a lot of things can come up that you did not know were there. So if things are coming from below and rising up within you, it could be memories, it could be anything. Breathe through it, look at it, address it, and just reconcile with it. Obviously, if you deal with any form of PTSD, trauma, or things like that, I urge you to go speak to somebody about that who can help you through it. Those things can cause very, very real problems, and oftentimes are strong sources of anxiety. Sleeplessness, insomnia, panic attacks, etc. So please address that issue if it does start coming up for you, or if there's something that ends up being triggered in you in this process that unearths some trauma that you had not visited or really looked at yet. Okay, Pisces, I love you guys. Please take care of yourselves right now, and please get to the heart of the matter in this energy, because I think it has the potential to be very fruitful. Even with the last card being the King of Pentacles, that says everything. I feel like this is very strong potential here, where if you can just look at your heart. Look at your heart. Whether it's wounded, whether it's shining, just look at it. Be with it. Because I think you're being pulled in this very certain direction, and I think you need to follow that. Obviously take your time. I really wouldn't make any distinctive decisions until mid-December, when the retrograde energy fully passes, but this is big. If this did resonate with you, please like, share, subscribe, or comment. I always love hearing people's experiences personally with personal readings. I love hearing their experiences, and I love hearing their own personal stories and how it kind of connects or interplays with the readings themselves. And if you need a personal reading from me, you can contact me at delicatetensiontarot@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram at delicatetension. Those are both down in the description box below. And I recently just added a link for donations if you would like to help me keep this channel going. Obviously, that is not a requirement. I love doing this either way. So yeah, please take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys later.